Hello there, Ian here once again, and I very much hope this is catching you happy, healthy, strong and safe. It's been a topsy-turvy year, 2021, but here we are, the 1st of October, the first day of the last quarter of the calendar year. And I hope that you're in good shape to make that final push to the finish line and finish the calendar year strongly. To help us finish strong, and I hope help us plan for the next calendar year, I'd like to spend a couple of minutes discussing priorities. Priorities are the key to achieving what is the most important in our businesses and our lives. But how do we choose? How do we choose what are those important things? So here are two ideas to help us. The first idea that we need is a goal. The second is a constraint. So let's take a look at the first one. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with goal setting. You may have been on goal setting workshops or read books on the subject. I think they're a great way to help us maintain our course, to help us on our journey to achieving something important. Some people set goals for 10 years, 5 years. Let's just think of a goal for the next 12 months, the next calendar year. With that in mind, the next question is, what is the main constraint? Or what are the main constraints? What are the one or more things that are most likely to stop us achieving that goal? And those things become our priorities. So the context, the environment, is determined by our goal. What is the most important thing we want to achieve in this period? Then we say, what are the constraints? What is stopping us right now from achieving that goal? Now let's take a look at one of the things that's important to me for next year in my own personal life. I would love to compete, or rather complete, a triathlon next year. I did one some years ago and I completed it in a time which is now my benchmark for one that I'll do next year, hopefully. Since then I had some injuries that took a while to get over, then we had the pandemic and people didn't run these events anymore, but next year I hope I can take part. So that sets up my goal. To come back to today, what is the constraint? Well, I love running and I enjoy cycling, but the constraint for me is swimming. So if I focus on my cycling and running, my triathlon time is not likely to improve very much. But if I focused on the swimming, that's where the biggest gain is going to be made for me personally. So in your life or your business, what is your goal for next year, and what are the constraints that would stop you? Those constraints form your priorities. Now, let's assume that you have more than one constraint. The choice then is, what is the most important of those constraints? What is the weakest of those weak links in the chain? A chain is always going to break at the weakest link. Focusing on a strong link doesn't really make much difference. So if you've got one or more weak links in the chain, the question is, what is the weakest one? And that needs to get the majority of your focus. So just to put that into a real world picture, of course, you've got more things going on in your world than just those priorities. You've got things that you need to focus on to keep the wheels turning, and that's okay. Michael Gerber was the first one to coin the phrase, I think formally, working on something and working in something. Working in a business is keeping the wheels going. Meetings, emails, telephone calls, and all that sort of stuff that keeps the wheels turning. Working on a business is focusing on those priorities, those constraints that are going to get you towards achieving your goal. A healthy balance between the two is what is important. So I really hope that that gave you some idea. If you're in the final push, my question to you would be, if I want to achieve this goal in the next 3 months, what's the most important constraint? What break do I have to relieve to get me to the finish line? If you're looking at next year, what's the goal for next year? What are the constraints? What needs to be focused on to help you achieve that goal? I really hope that that did make sense. I look forward to sharing with you again soon. And until then, stay happy, healthy and strong, and stay safe. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. And there's a car alarm gone off. Let's just wait until that finishes.